Hello, everyone. We're live over here with our buddies at StratMinds. Today, we'll give you an insightful discussion about AI and UX, reflecting on what has happened in 2023, anticipating what's happening in 2024. Make sure to stay tuned towards the end for a design challenge reveal with over $2,000 in prizes and more opportunities to attend hackathons and more to bring your ideas further. Before we start, we'd like to know about you all. So our icebreaker question is, where are you currently tuning in from, and what is your favorite AI tool? And I know there's like a slight delay with the live and a StreamYard, so I will be referring back so I can see. Let's see. And looks like we have 50 people on LinkedIn on the first minute. So,
yay!
Hi everyone. Hi Afsol. Hi Ashvaro. Hi Somi. We have 71, 74 on our LinkedIn. Wow, it's a party so far. We just got started. Anton and Summer, where y'all are tuning? Where are y'all, both of y'all, tuning in from, and what are your favorite AI tools?
I'm joining from Los Altos, Bay Area. Yes, same as you,
Ashvaro
Grace.
from Bangladesh. Favorite AI tool is ChatGPT. Also likes Firefly, SF, Kriya. Oh, I'm friends with the founders of Kriya. We host an event with them too. Hi Min, hi Zenia, hi Leo. We have over 100 people now. Hi Dustin. Nice. So
Hi,
where is
Zenia.
everyone tuning in from, and what are your favorite AI tools? Let us know in the chat. Costa Rica, wow. I'm going there for a co-working retreat. What about you, Anton and Summer? What are y'all's favorite AI tools and tuning in from?
Actually, Anton, you started talking about yours, so I'll wait for your response.
My favorite tool so far, I guess it's ChatGPT and a little bit Iris. I'm trying to love Iris as an interface for ChatGPT.
Cool.
Awesome. I think my AirPods wasn't working for a second, so I couldn't hear y'all. Sorry about that confusion. Cool. I see a lot of engagement in chat. 120 people in live. Hi, everyone. Wow. ChatGPT, a lot of ChatGPTs. Bing image creator from Nigeria. Hi, Kai. Awesome. Cool. We're so excited. So now we get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited to have Anton and Summer here from StratMinds, BC, and we're having an insightful discussion, presentation, and Q&A, very interactive about AI and UX, reflecting on what has happened this year in 2023 and anticipating what's going to happen in 2024. So if y'all are new to Design Buddies and don't know who we are, I'm Grace. My background's actually in UX design as well. I founded Design Buddies in April of 2020 when I was a student transitioning my career from engineering to design. I'm also a content creator and I work as a UX designer at a large tech company. And Design Buddies, so our goal is to help designers level up in their design careers. Like y'all, we want to help you land jobs, get that promotion, make lots of money, and live your best lives. So we provide a lot of resources, like events such as this, in-person, online design challenges, and more. And content as well. And we're so excited to have Anton and Summer here. And Anton and Summer are UX partners at StratMinds, a San Francisco-based VC firm specializing in applied AI. And we're super excited to begin our partnership with StratMinds to work alongside UX leaders like them. And Anton was the first designer and UX leader at WhatsApp, so I love WhatsApp. And let me know in the chat if y'all like WhatsApp as well. So say WhatsApp in the chat if y'all like WhatsApp. And Neva. And he also added 1.5 billion users in his career with over 15 years of building and supporting global design teams, 25 years in UX product and design, and also a prolific angel investor. And Summer also founded and led the global user research functions at Roblox, WhatsApp / Facebook, Google Workspace, Microsoft Surface, and is also an active investor and advisor to many startups, which also added over 1 billion users in her career. So let us know in the comments if y'all use WhatsApp, Neva, Roblox, Google Workspace, Microsoft. Let us know in the chat. And now we're going to hand it over to Summer and Anton to hear their perspectives and observations from 2022.
Cool. So I can kick it off, and then Anton can help actually drive the slides. By the way, so we're doing our icebreaker question, and then the question for like what's your favorite AI tool, and then for me recently has been ChatGPT voice. So it's been really cool, especially when I'm driving. So I'm a working mom with 2 little kids, but when I'm going to pick them up, they're not in the car yet, right? So then I'm thinking a lot about work and maybe some projects, and then I'm really having this moment to like reflect a little bit on the things that I need to work on, and I open up a ChatGPT, and almost like having a like another consultant in a car, and then we having a conversation, and then it also transcribe things that we have just discussed. So it's been really cool, especially for continuing my minds and like offload and continuing with busy life, as a multiple, wearing a multiple hat. So I think it's been really awesome. Another tool is MemAI I use a lot. It's almost like talking to your documents and talking to your to-do list. So that has been really a big help for me. So that's why there's a lot of tools that we use. It's not just like one favorite tool, but those are kind of like my recent favorite. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to share what we've been seeing this year in 2023. And as a investor and as an advisor for early stage AI startups.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Anton? What are
Oh,
I'm back.
so are you able to start the slides?
Sure.
Yes.
I'm actually having my slides on, so you can feel free to
Okay,
share.
cool. All right, so we can go to the next slide. By the way, I am super excited to do this first ever design challenge, and then especially more excited because we partner with Design Buddies. And then Grace actually had a quick overview of StratMinds, and we actually started this firm back in 2018 when AI wasn't as big as right now. But AI is not a new thing, right? It's been going on for years and years and years. And our team is pretty unique compared to other VC firms, since we're made up of tech insiders and product leaders who has contributed adding over 2 billion global users during our careers. So we found that super useful, especially when we are working with our startups. And then our current next generation AI fund has 2 parts in it, which is you can see on the right side. So we have tech-centric thesis. They're looking at how AI tool is radically advancing and looking at next generation AI, next generation computing, and exceptional businesses that can be enabled by them. And then the other side is the one Anton and I are leading. It's the UX fund, which is a human centric, where we really look at delivering great user experience, enabling other to do the same in the AI first world. So that's why I think we're especially excited about this AI plus UX design challenge, because that has been our focus and try to really elevate that. Go to the next slide. So we are constantly always looking for founders and leaders with big ears, big heart. They really care and show for their customer and really execute that beautiful experience for them. And if you go to the next slide, that's why our thesis, what we believe is that the winners of the AI race will be determined by great user experience. So that's why it's been really interesting to see the development of how it's been exploded more than a year ago now since the ChatGPT announced and making it more accessible. And then since then, we've been seeing a lot of different development, not just limited to Gen AI space, but a lot of different layers and AI stacks that we've seen. But as I mentioned, this is not a new thing that is just happening. I mean, Anton and I actually attended a ICML this year, and then they were celebrating their 40th ICML, which is International Conference of Machine Learning. So we are very happy that this is really taking off, and then there's a lot of opportunity, especially for the UXers. So what we're going to do is we broke down into 4 major areas that we've been tracking, and we've been seeing a good development and examples from our startups that we work with, and then a bunch of other things that we've seen. So we're going to actually talk about these 4 areas. And you can also think about how these 4 areas can inspire you, or maybe you can combine different parts of the sections to see how you can also think about UX problems that you want to solve. Okay, so the first one is, you guys all been experiencing like a lot of things that we've seen, conversational AI, Gen AI, where a lot of things are very, very personalized. And then there is also very interesting like Copilot is happening, and you can see from like Perplexity or other tools that you can see. And then, it's interesting because onboarding has been also a little bit different. And then I think things are getting better, but it still is a lot we can do. So Anton's actually going to show some more examples on everything generated section.
Yeah, I like to share this example where like you probably get used to this. So we have two sides. Like one is a person who wants a job, and the other side wants people to hire. And so Brian write this thing to ChatGPT. I want the job. Here's my resume. And then the AI generates you something in the middle that is ready to be sent to the other side. But then on the other side, I guess what the interest of the company on the side is basically compiling whatever they send to them to something more simple, like Brian wants the job, download PDF. So this thing in this being created is basically to serve the needs of both sides. And you can imagine really anything that can be created in this middle. Uh, it could be a phone app based on needs of the customer and availabilities of business or several businesses. It can be a service, it can be an experience, it can be an API, and for products that hasn't been doing this before. And as a kind of like, the North Star that I can see, like you can actually create some kind of hardware on the fly to adjust to my needs. And what's interesting is that kind of like with the innovation that's happening right now in AI, the simplification of the thing allows me as person who is looking for a job to send it like to the multiple companies at the same time. So it becomes easier. So basically it allows me to scale my outreach. And what it creates is it creates the need for the other side to filter from a lot of the customers who send. So basically, it's amplifying my capabilities, but it also has to improve the capability for other side to filter and find the things that is needed for them. And I guess the thing that's being generated is different. And now I'm showing the example from Pika that's just been launched, which creates text to video interface. So you can create a video from a prompt. You can create something that's like initially we started with text, then images, and then eventually after this, it's videos. But it can go further. It can go to creating the live interfaces. So this example from GoFrame, they allow you to generate headers and copy for websites. But what I can see can go next, it can go to personalization that's more deep, but it create more visual elements and UI elements and styling and layout based on my needs, and also eventually create something that we can call generate a live-in interface on the fly, which a journey length can be arbitrary or anything like this. Or this example where just from a single photo and the motion data, you can create video that's amazing. I guess we'll kind of like have the 2023 as the year where, we should stop believing anything we see and thinking this is real, because like everything can be generated on the fly so easily. And I guess it not just happening on the same flow. What's interesting about multi-modality magic that we are tracking is it combines the modalities. Like it's not just text, it's not just video communication. It can be everything happening at the same time. This example on the left that you see is not happening at real time. This is basically your iPhone camera, and 3D object is being created on the fly. And just like this, you can create advisories and assistants, and any like the worlds can be created on the fly. This example I want to show you from Iris.
This paragraph.
You can show and tell at the same time.
Paul Graham's essays, and then can you also read these paragraphs from Alexander Obenauer's article? And can you just kind of compare them for me and help me reconcile these two different concepts?
So you can ask and tell and show and use your body, because our brains, for the 95%, represent our physical bodies and how we live. And the conceptual
spelled
and
Bobinara's
cognition
name wrong,
is
but that's
mostly
okay.
coming after for the rest 5%. And I could see that the spaces and the worlds we create is going to be different, because like we're going to be building this not just in the actual world, but we can build things in VR that gives us opportunities to do and interact with new worlds that are created. And gestural navigations that we were using in the phones, we will probably do more of it with our hands. And you could see that Apple Watch is recently launched pinch interaction with Watch, but we'll have more of this. And this recent innovation from AI pin from Humane allows you to basically use more of the real world, use more of your hands and bodies and your voices at the same time. And this is just a hint of what's possible in the future. Even if this one is not extremely successful, but it shows us the way the technology is going to be developing in the future. Yeah, this demo is also quite nice in terms of what's available. I still feel this is a little bit, just the beginning step. In the future, it's going to be much more immediate and interactive. And what's interesting, it's not just the kind of like, emotional layer of our multimodality will also be a major part of this. This demo, I'm not going to be showing it in full, is example of how the company meeting that is happening where the founder is like firing one of the co-founders, and it plays out emotionally in the emotional space, but then it allows you to navigate the space and maybe go back in the conversation and embed some thoughts in the other side's mind, and then like see how it plays out in the future. So this more layers of interaction and more space and more embedding spaces that we create is going to be something that's now with the technologies that we create is now finally available to navigate and have operations with. So now I'm probably going give the mic to Summer.
It's really cool examples that Anton just shared, especially the last one. If you have a chance, maybe you guys can check it out. It's very interesting how you can really try to understand how people react differently, so you can better understand the emotional side of things and then respond to different things based on that, right? So these are really interesting development. We see that. And then the part that I'm going to talk about is another very exciting part, especially for me, because I have used a bunch of tools coming out from there. So really thinking about how you can feel super powered, right? Imagine you have a perfect memory. Imagine you can just, even if it's a tiny little thing that you can like, throw into, tools like Iris, and then they can transcribe and connect different dots for you, right? So it's really about how you can feel amplified and then actually increase your productivity and then not being replaced. So I think these are really, really cool things. And then people are really worried about like, oh my God, I might lose my job or this and that. But I think it's really interesting in this angle, because I even myself personally just feel like I can actually start a lot of different things because I have this tool who can really help enhancing my thinking or my productivity and creativity and so on. So that's why I think that these are really interesting. But at the same time, we also need to like make sure that our as an end user, we have the right agency, and then how we are informed when we are maybe let the the computer record everything in my desktop and things like that. Okay, so the next example is actually a company called Adapt, and they actually have this thing called Experiment, and then I'm actually using it right now because I was on the wait list. I was super happy when I got that access, and then this is actually a demo. It's done by Adapt, where you can just say that you wanted say 4-bedroom house in a certain location, Houston, your budget is like 500,000, whatever. And then it actually will try to find the top 3 options or top 1 options for you. And then the same thing on the right is interesting because that's a little bit of an enterprise application and example where there's a lot of tools. We all know, using this enterprise tool may not be your favorite tool to use, or maybe you're too busy to do this, maybe. And then maybe sometimes it's a lot of repeats, and then you can figure out how it can help you so that you can just only do the reviews, or it can help you to co-pilot. So these are really good, examples of showing that. And then the next slide is a company called Augment. And then I'm actually been actively using Augment myself. And then it's really cool because it actually knows what you're doing and understands where you're at, right? So instead of maybe writing something, now with the ChatGPT to write a better, or, Anthropic Claude can help you to maybe have no grammar mistakes and so on. But then this one, you don't have to copy paste from a different tool. This one goes right into your, say, Slack windows, or maybe the document that you're working on, right? So it's really helping you to be in the right moment and able to leverage this AI superpower at the moment in the right exact section of work that you're doing. So the workflow wise is a lot more smoother. And then the next one is something that it's been super hot, which is called RAG, is Retrieval Augmented Generation. So you see that from like Perplexity and then other examples where people love, asking their data question and putting their document and then getting this connected to this, more data that you can access to. So I think these are also another great examples of for us to like understand how the user experience can pull those in together, and how is the data experience and the presentation and then flow of this is actually can help the users. And then actually, we've been going pretty fast since we are going to cover a lot of different things and also get you guys more information on Design Challenge. And then I also want you to know that this 4 area we talked about, in each area itself can be days and days of separate Design Challenge, right? And then trust is also the one that I think is going to be a very, very, very important, is someone as a designer or product makers to think about at all times. And it's such a foundational layer that I think we need to really think about that in all activities and all thinking that we do. And especially like I also worked at WhatsApp, we care so much about, building something that was very trustworthy, it was very privacy focused and things like that. So I think that's something that I think it's going to be continuous conversation that we need to have. But simple thing is like, like how do I know like these things, or how these things happening? But I want to get better education, right? And then better onboarding so that I know how things are work, not in the way that, it's like tech, very, high tech, level, but something that I can understand, right? It's a good balance between how you can be in the knows and get educated and then know enough to actually make your own, this informed decisions. And then also like knowing the status of it, right? Sometimes, you probably experience sometimes ChatGPT can respond to you or it breaks because maybe it's so many users and whatnot. So it'll be maybe have a maybe reliability status dashboard or something like that to give user a different type of level of information and have a stronger user feedback channels and things like that is something that we can think about all coming together to build, more trustworthy platforms.
Right. And I guess this year is interesting because the innovation that we have with AI starts to get into other products that are not AI first. And what's interesting here, for example, is when you search Google for this famous Hawaiian singer and songwriter, Israel Kamakawiwo'ole. And the first picture that Google is now choosing is not a real thing now. So we have to like build more controls into how we build our tools, because like the things that are being generated with AI are coming from Reddit in this case. This is like subreddit that's called dedicated to Midjourney. And the image from here that's been generated by Midjourney is now coming to the rest of the product. So kind of like how do we build products with a sense that now it's not even going to be true? So kind of like how do you make confidence of what's being told, and how do you build products that probably are not trustful in the 20% of your interactions with it? Like, how is it possible to trust this thing? Maybe yes, if the value is too high for me, but still kind of like it's different kind of relations with the product, and you have to constantly think about it. But products where models get closer to like 95% of accuracy is something that people really enjoy. And Summer was given an example about retrieval augmented generation when you talk with your own data. Like the products that are being built today, for example, this product which connects the invoicing and contracting and figure out the rules, like what are the rules in the contracts, and making sure that every invoice is there, and allow with a human in the loop model to actually change and apply rules that are actually right. And yes, I think you can definitely see how innovation happens in waves. You could see that the computing was originally started from command line interfaces that was used just by a few people, professors, original engineers, like thousands of users really. But with innovation in user experience, this is what allows to bring the technology to more people, democratize all the power that brings us technology, and kind of like from the command lines interface to this magical experiences that we have with iPhones. We'll have to go again now, because I think the AI right now is exactly close to command line interface example. Like what is going to be the next generation AI products that will allow to democratize all the technologies that's already there. And the user experience innovation, obviously, like when we think about it, is mostly about the apps and kind of like, consumer side of things. But to be honest, I'm thinking the user innovation experience is possible at every level of AI stack. It is possible on the level of models. It's possible on the level of developer tools. And it's even possible on the layer of data and compute. And I think we like to track like the obvious thing or where things are changing as human to machine interaction. But what's interesting is that human to human interaction changed too, and machine to machine interactions change too. And we track some of the trajectories and evolution in each of these three sections. With human to human, we started with email, then go into instant messaging, voice calls. But then eventually, with the help of AI, we go to machine assistant and spatial computing communication. Similar with human to machine, the trajectory I told, like starting from command line interfaces to menus to graphical user interfaces, and then context-driven interfaces. Now we are going into multimodal territory, multilingual. And with machine to machine, we started with kind of like, very manual processes of data exchange between machines that was mediated by humans, and eventually creating of EDI and then API. And now with AI, we will see robotic process automation and generative AI enhanced APIs as well. And how did we build products in the past? We tried to create something new. We tried to create something better or make something cheaper that allows to more people to use something that's already great. In the AI age, what I'm thinking the opportunities are, is kind of like, the data is now a product, and the models that are created are basically reflect the data that's underlying the product. And the secrets of building successful products in this age are getting into territory of getting new data or getting better data or getting more value out of data. But I'm thinking that, everything is still possible. Like people start to think, oh, like ChatGPT took all of it and it's not possible to innovate anymore. What I'm thinking, if you go to App Store in the productivity category, you will see at least 25% of top 25 positions are clones of ChatGPT, because they innovated a little bit better on onboarding, or they innovated a little bit better on showing what capabilities the technology have. So I'm seeing a lot of opportunities, and it's still possible to disrupt OpenAI in consumer space. You could definitely see this in the Google trend charts, and in terms of kind of like how people kind of like start using it. Maybe they're not exactly happy about the experience. They go back. So like the hype cycle slightly goes down, and then this is like the going down of the chart is exactly the opportunity for you guys to come and create something new and better. And same with majority of chatbots, they have very similar trajectory in the user engagement.
So I think it's a really, really exciting time for all of us, especially those people are really try to look for a better experience when it comes to product building and user experience and so on. So that's why we are thinking that this is the best time for us to do something like this and then continue to support this. So as we mentioned that there are 4 areas that we briefly talked about, super briefly, and then hopefully we have an opportunity to actually expand more per each of the section and even perhaps doing a design challenge separately. So you guys can also then think about this as for your area for you to maybe consider for your problem statement in the project that you can submit. So obviously Gen AI, everything generated, like elevating experience, product design, they can utilize this, right? For creative, more dynamic interaction. There's contextual AI interfaces, design AI system that can maybe adapt to user context and preference a little bit more interesting way, but then yet it's easy to use, obviously. And then there's a lot of augmentation tool that we talked about, but really enhancing human capability through AI, right? Not feel like replaced, but really feel super powered, and they're really helping that and then making it intuitive, empowering, right? So I think that's really important. And there's also co-pilot system you can consider, multi-modal UX, and how can you make this seamless and then also very easily accessible for all kinds of people. And obviously, thinking about all this and then the foundational level, like how do you do that in a way that is very ethical, right? So ethical design and our consideration for all this so that you can make something very trustworthy and then have a very meaningful positive impact. So that's why we think that these are a good starting point. So that's why we kind of present it here. And the next slide is going to really share our overview of what we are asking, right? So for design challenge, it's going to kick off today for 10 days. So your deadline is actually on Monday, December 11th, midnight, 11:59 Pacific time. And we really want to hear from you, especially your thought process, right? And how you approach your problem. What was actually the problem that you're trying to solve? And any sketches, user journey, mapping flows, anything that helped you helped you to going through this process and showcase your design thinking and process. And then any research that you did really informed that decision, right? And then your comprehensive view of your final proposal. And then if you go to the next slide, we have to talk about the prize. So we're actually the top 5 winners. We're going to actually spend time with additional AI experts. We're going to have one-on-one session to really give you that feedback and have this mentorship session. And then we have $1,000 for our top winner, and then 4 honorable mention for $200 Amazon gift card. But I do think that the future collaboration is the part is actually most exciting, because yes, you can win this money and whatnot, but think about this like opportunities that you can meet some really cool early stage startups or people thinking about maybe starting and solving certain problem in the world of AI, and we can do this AI UX hackathon with the people that we've been working with. I don't want to reveal the name right now, but it's going to be super exciting. And then it's going to be invitation to some exclusive AI events for your networking and actually get to know these cool people. And lastly, we are actually launching our also first ever AI UX conference. It's called Swell AI in Honolulu, Hawaii, in February next year. So it's only 2 months away, right? So we are really looking for this connection. So where East and West can meet together when it comes to AI conversation, and also UX plus AI meets together. So we are really excited the fact that we're able to do this. So I want a lot of people to submit their ideas, and I can't wait to see all this coming through. So that's a wrap for our section, and then we can open up to Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I'm so excited for the conference in Hawaii and everything that you shared as well. And so we'll hop into some Q&A. Let me stop screen sharing. And I see a couple of questions in the chat, so I'm just going to bring them up. But if y'all have any questions, I know there's a slight delay on live stream. But so I guess the first question is from Somi, asks, where can we start learning AI and UX from scratch?
Should the question be to ChatGPT?
Yes, you can ask ChatGPT, but also by attending this event, you'll have some places to start with.
I think the combination of real product building, I mean, all the books about how design is made, and then following really great thought leaders on Twitter like Linus or Siki-chan or other interesting people who post a lot of things. Subscribe to people who like follow the greatest and bestest innovation there. And yeah, just trying to build something for you and your friends, even as a prototype. Like, you can do stuff in Figma and then kind of like, mirror it on your phone and like ask people to test it. I'm thinking the greatest way to learn is by building. Like, that's my personal kind of like, and building it for other people, like yourself ideally, but also for someone else. I don't know, Summer, what do you have?
Yeah, so my 2 cents here is that although I've been a head of research and running these functions, I actually started as a designer myself. So I do have an industrial design background. And then one thing that was very interesting when it comes to product design, like more physical product design, right? Because that's what I study, is that you really need to understand how people are dealing with these problems. Because so you can start watching a lot of things. If you decided on one area that you want to tackle, you can see how people are actually solving the problem right now. There's a lot of workarounds you can see. There's a lot of other things that can support, this certain problems or the job that the person is to try to do. So that's why I think it's really good to observe what's happening. So it's almost like studying like human interaction, like human behavior. And then like Anton say, I really double down on trying something to see if that makes sense, and then ask your friends. And then you can, nowadays there's a lot of platform that you can just post and then able to get some feedback. And then I think it's also kind of like going through this like process of getting feedback, generally not always easy, we all know that, but just embrace it, that's how you grow. And then also take it in a way that it's going to really help you. And then you can always take or leave it. Like, don't think that feedback is going to dictate you, so just take it light, just move through this, and then I think that's going to be a good starting point.
Yeah, definitely agree. And definitely you can use Design Buddy as a resource to get feedback, post your work on LinkedIn to get feedback as well. And by participating in this design challenge, you'll learn by doing it as well. Yes, so I'm going to go to the next question. Oh, so Suma asks, question for the challenge. What would be a good scope for an AI UX problem?
I see it as something that you can approach and solve in less than 10 days. You can definitely, even without solving it, like in the big scope, just having something that shows your way of thinking and how you approach the problem and how you approach solving this problem, even without having a working solution. Something that shows that, yes, like in this 10 days, I try to have the thing that I care about the most and how I plan to solve it, and just showing it to the other people who can appreciate this.
No, I completely agree. It's a very short time frame. And then, as I mentioned, the 4 area that we're kind of sharing is more the trend and area that we're tracking. It's not saying that, oh my God, you need to solve a problem for Gen AI. It doesn't make sense, right? So even like the onboardings, or even just like maybe context switching, and maybe using your output from, say, it was maybe used by ChatGPT, but then using it in a different ways, or whatever that may be. So you can kind of like scope in a way that you can handle. But as Anton said, it's really about your thought process, and then and then really helping us to understand like how you're considering this problem, and then how you actually walking through this like steps. I think those are going to be more important than the shiny objects, to be honest.
And
Mhm.
you can also look at the, like, if it interesting for you, can you look at for verticals? Like we were talking about kind of like, directions in general, but you can take verticals. If you care about movies, like think about movies. If you think about kind of like enterprise or e-commerce, think about e-commerce. If you are thinking about, mobility first, like think about mobility. So kind of anything, any vertical that you think might be close to you also works.
And you can definitely use this on your portfolio, everyone, as well.
Absolutely. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yes, that's the goal. We want y'all to create cool stuff so you can get those jobs, make that money, and live your best life.
Actually,
there's
I
a-
saw that this couple question that coming kind of relate to this is that, to be clear, this is a speculative design project. That there was a question on that.
Mhm.
But
Yes.
if you think about it, like we will have the hackathon coming up next for a few winners that we'll invite to participate. And in this situation, it's no longer speculative because, like, if you're paired with the engineer or team of engineers at this hackathon, you're able to start building this. So think about that.
Yes, which leads us to our next question. As product designers / visionaries of potential new ideas, how much should we consider technical hurdles? Like, is it resource intensive, expensive, etc., in AI implementation during the early design process?
Summary.
I'm still thinking.
I can take it. So definitely you should consider it, but it shouldn't stop you. Like my colleague from WhatsApp, Randall, during his interview processes, like to ask the question like, if you have an emotional intelligence interface available in the product, what would you build from it? So like it was not possible back then when he was asking this interview question to candidates, but now it's actually possible. You can use API from Hume AI. You may not even know it's possible, but if you do some research and search for something, some of it starts to happen. Some of it starts to be available. You can do a little bit of research, but try to dream big. That's my advice.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then we actually put kind of judge criteria in the form, so you can actually take a look at that. And it's really like your fresh idea. You're kind of like you're thinking innovation, and then it's like feasibility. Will it work? If we can actually decide to make this, from the hackathon or something like this. And then obviously that all kind of coming into the technical hurdle consideration, the money and resources and things like that. So I think it's a balance that you need to think about. And then, but then we were really trying to encourage people to not to be shy on this, right? So, and then like really think about what you want to solve, and then we can help you, and then even maybe give you some feedback on that.
Awesome. I just want to double check on time. You have a lot of more questions. Are you okay to go a little bit over time?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Making sure. All right, next question by Alice. So we see dark patterns in UX, but what are some examples of how dark patterns are applied in AI?
I can definitely see things coming in the election manipulation and persons created where this person doesn't exist. So this is already happening, and this is a challenge for other side of the how do you detect this now? So it's always a play. It's always going to be a game. So like not just you start to creating things that are not true. But how do you build product that help you understand what's true, what's not true?
Yeah, deep fakes.
And I also noticed that there's a question about this event that's coming up, our future event, including the Hawaii conference. We'll share in our LinkedIn post, and also we'll let the design buddies and Grace know about it, so you guys get all the details once we can point that we can announce more publicly.
Awesome. There's a really long question by Daniel. I think he's asking how do we, as UX designer, as a product of modern computing era, design for command line era where we're neither part of but have moved past?
We can
Maybe,
ask ChatGPT to summarize and then ask us
Yes.
question.
like my guess is probably okay. So this evolution didn't happen like from here to there at one step. There were like steps in the middle. So now can you imagine each steps, but now you have AI capabilities and large language models capabilities. So every step, like how can you kind of like change every step and where will it lead you? So okay, so we from the command line interface, we move to kind of like, screens and menus. Like, what is different about that if we have AI now? What is different about that if we have XR now? What we have if we have multimodal now? So like try to change every step possible and see where it leads you.
Yeah, I agree. We're part of the innovation, so the future is us to write. There's a lot of cool questions. There's a question by Uqual asks, how can AI influence UX research jobs? I know a lot of people are concerned about their jobs being replaced by AI. I was curious how it will impact user research.
Well, I mean, this has been a very hot topic among researchers and our community when it comes to, like, wow, there are many different tools that can be used where even doing a research that is no longer just regular, say, a survey, as an example, right? So the survey can be dynamically adjusted based on the question, answer by the user when you do, say, survey quantitative research. And then you can also go deeper by that, the question platform ask you a question and doing a one-on-one interview unmoderated, not by the researcher, but by the tool. So there's a lot of tools out there can really help, I think, research to be a lot more productive in terms of maybe collecting an additional insight. But I always tell people that one, research is never perfect anyway. We are here to really, as a researcher, we are here to look at all kinds of different ways to triangulate insights. So maybe that is one of the signals. Instead of just maybe survey for 10 questions, maybe it is useful, getting some help of AI to get some additional, deeper kind of like, the open text insight from it. And then we can also then figure out from these insights to see how can we design our research next level a lot better, looking at all different types of data. So I do think that it's going to be help researchers to think about how we do the next follow-up research or even setting up our research in a different way. But I don't think that it's going to replace really the job of researchers, because I think the actual thinking and the human one-on-one qualitative interaction of it, I don't think it can, and nobody can ever replace it. Because you know how you're asking question and how people interviewing someone in a different ways, the different things come out, right? So from that angle, I don't think that is ever the human, our superpower as a human connection and all that, I don't think is gonna be ever replaced.
Definitely agree on that. Next question by Zenya is kind of like towards like, how does AI fit in like mixed reality or XR?
So what I'm thinking, Zhenya is actually my friend. He's based in New York. So hi, Zhenya. And the question is about like, will we transition fully to XR as a permanent device instead of a phone? What I'm thinking, it's actually going to be an ecosystem. Like, like depending on your time of day, depending on what you do, you're probably going to be using different tools and devices. So like, that's why in the current ecosystem, we have AirPods, we have phone with the screens and touch interfaces, we have watch with kind of like, voice and, and watch can go on a different use cases with you, and AirPods can go to different use cases with you. And eventually kind of like you see AI pins that kind of like live in here with cameras that are always on. It's definitely a new stream of information available for AI to help you with. And it's definitely, like with these cameras, we will now be able to, have projectors and kind of like, can project things in front of us. And even before this happens, you'll probably have things like Apple's Vision Pro. So yes, it's going to be a permanent device, but not instead of a phone. It's probably in addition to all the landscape of devices we have. And how quickly will it happen? I don't know. Like for some people it's happening now. Some people already working in XR and meeting their friends for stand-ups in XR. So it's just kind of like, future is already here, but it's not evenly distributed.
Awesome. I know we have to wrap up soon, so we'll take 2 more questions. Jessica asks, how do you make sure we're innovating in a way that we build products in AI that's accessible?
Oh man, it's a big topic. I think from a research perspective, we want to make sure that we are thinking a lot from all kinds of different use cases, so that people can not just making a checkbox list. Because I remember, when I was at Google and Facebook and other places, when it comes to accessibility, a lot of times it was just a list that we just have to check, or it's afterthoughts, right? So we had a whole groups, within these companies to really push that in a different way, so that people can understand, what is even mean by accessibility. Is it just about people can read this much, or the short, like there's all kinds of different shapes and forms, and then different things that we can define as like, how can we make something very accessible? So I think it's really important when it comes to thinking about that early on, and then not just doing after the fact, right? Early on, and then how we can also like understand the power of AI to be able to even support that even so much better, because I think that AI can actually empower different use cases much better, because it's very personalized, it's customized, it understands context so much better. So I think that it's going to be a very important area to think about it together early on.
And what's interesting, I think AI brings in is an opportunity for accessibility, because like I think AI is very powerful at multimodality, and accessibility is usually about like some modes are not that easily accessible to you, right? So like, for example, the vision is not there or the hearing is not there. How do you complement and move between these models like easily and fluidly? And I think AI helps here a lot. And you can see kind of like, I've seen people trying to complement their vision, for example, with, this electrodes connected to your tongue. In this similarity, AI would be kind of like doing a lot more augmentation and bringing your experience to more full experiences compared to what exists right now.
Awesome. I know there's a lot of questions. We don't have time to go through all of them. However, we will open up a new channel very shortly in our Discord with the challenge. So you're welcome to ask in there. There's, I guess, like maybe we can take one more question and maybe some key takeaways. So Kevin asks, some of the design challenges working with models and Gen AI interfaces have really deep system integrations and data model architecture. How have you navigated working with developers and researchers that don't end up territorial? It's more like working on a team.
Well, I think this is a classic issue that happens all the time. It doesn't have to be the deep integration that AI related. It could be anything, right? So again, like as a UX research perspective, once we know the goal of what we are doing, what we are building, and then why we are doing this, for what experience, how can we enable our users at the end, I think it makes it less territorial. Because then people are focused on what we need to achieve as a group, right? But I do think that it's something that we almost need to be very good at, especially as a UXer, because I feel like as being a UX person, we're kind of a lot of times that we're the connected tissue, right? Because we're looking at experience very holistically, we're looking at very end to end. When maybe the other people, like maybe developers and other people, can maybe look at their kind of like one problem or the area that they really want to make it very successful. So constantly like help educate these people to better think about our goal is this, and then we really need to do work together, because we are really trying to make a better experience in the end.
And my suggestion is to invite all sides to be really curious about the other side. So if you're a designer, just be more curious about what goes into like how engineers think, what goes into their decisions, what goes into kind of like how they think about stuff. Like spend more time with them, be really curious, ask more questions. and invite them in their turn to be more curious about like what you do, what goes in your decisions. Like, and this is actually a skill to both ask the questions, find ways to ask the questions, and also try to show what goes into your, like, how do you move the decisions you make subconsciously in your head to the level of language. I guess AI helps us a little bit with that, but it's mostly your skill and your job to do this.
Yeah, and then come on, guys. AI, being a UX person is we are in a very unique position, right? Because we are working with product design, we're working with like product management, like PMs, work with the engineers, work with like data scientists. Like we work with a lot of different functions. So ultimately, we can actually help them, and then also like Anton say, be curious, and then almost like kind of like be the consultant or like observe a lot of things together so that we can actually bring things together. I think we are in a unique position to do that. So I really love this question. And then I love the fact that we're end with this to kind of highlight our very special job that we have as a designer, as a product visionaries, and and the builders. So I'm very excited about this challenge, and I can't thank enough those people that joined from all over the world. I lived in 4 countries, and I saw Canada was being one of them, and I also live in Asia and whatnot. So I'm so excited to have these people join, and then I love the fact that Grace and Design Buddies being our tight partner for this. So thank you so much.
Of course, happy to. And so excited to run this event with y'all. And feel free to stay in touch. Join our Discord to learn more about the challenge. I'll be sending out an email if you signed up on Luma about the challenge, so you can get ready for it. And if you have any follow-up questions, definitely feel free to submit in our Discord. And thank you so much, Anton and Summer, for sharing your insights with us. Really appreciate this as well. I had a great time. And feel free to connect with all of us on LinkedIn and have fun. Awesome. And this event is recorded. It's on our YouTube, LinkedIn. You can find it anywhere. If anything that anyone says today resonated with y'all, definitely make a LinkedIn post about it. Build your personal brand. Tag Design Buddies, tag Anton, tag Summer, tag me. We'd love to amplify your post as well. So feel free to share it with your friends and be happy, learn together, stay curious, and have fun. And have a great weekend. Cool. Bye. Thanks, everyone.